Welcome to the channel, welcome to the workshop. And you've seen by the video description, it's been about 2 years since I went down the Aldi Ferrex 20 volt, 40 volt tool system rabbit hole. I've acquired quite a bit of kit now, and I've been using it quite a lot more recently. And I thought it'd be worth going through what I picked up, the pros and cons of each one, the limitations maybe of them that I've used so far, and just highlight what I've been using it for. To see if it's practical for yourselves. So that's what we're going to do today. So I'm going to move the camera around. We're just going to go through basically everything that's on my tool holding system, and yeah, just basically pull them out and just go through what I've been using them for in the last couple of years. And yeah, and that's about it. So I'm going to flip the camera around and we'll set up. You may have seen the video when I bought all this stuff, or the first bulk of this stuff, going through why I chose to go down this route. I'll put a video caption up here to go and link to that video from a few years ago. The main reason was cost, to put it simply. The tools that are here range in price from the actual tool itself, not the battery, just the naked kit, range from £15 to about £40. With the batteries running at, I think the current, last time I saw the prices, a 20 volt battery, which is this size. These were 15 quid, and the 40 volt one, which is the big one, these were coming at 25 quid. The charging stations, the chargers were coming in at about, I think they're £15 each at the moment, although sometimes you do some deals on those. And they're becoming more regularly available in Aldi, I've noticed recently. At one point, it was like they were getting rid of it all, but they seem to keep bringing it back in waves, which is really good. So I bought it because at that price, I wasn't worried. I'd just buy a tool. If it was something that was practical, and the Ferrex stuff has a variety of kit that these batteries attached to. So if I see something that could be useful, I'll buy it rather than spending like on DeWalt or one of the big companies like Bosch and spending, I don't know, £60–70 on the tool, and then second guessing it and thinking about whether I should or shouldn't do it. At 15, 20, 25 quid, I'm just going to go buy it and then stick it on the shelf and see if I can use it. Now everything I've got on here, and we'll go through it all, I've used a lot of it more recently because I've been refurbing. That's in the videos. I've been refurbing the garage. I turn my carport into a garage, and a lot of this has been used for that. But not always just for that. So I thought we'd just go through. We're going to start with a bit of an outlier, which isn't really a 20 volt one. This is coming really useful. This is the Ferrex. I think this is a 7 volt soldering iron. Tiny little thing, and it's become really useful doing some work on the Scirocco, the T4 camper, and the camper and the dune buggy. Because it's so tiny, you can get right into the engine for soldering up wires. Now, there are some limitations with this. The main one being you have to constantly hold it. There's a little finger hold press here. You have to hold it like a touch sensor, which then activates it. That's the reason for that, I think, is so the battery doesn't run down too quickly. It does mean, however, if you put it down, to get the wires back together, you're going to sit there for 30 seconds, letting it warm, I'd say like 10 seconds, letting it warm up again so you can use it. But it has become extremely practical to use and really good. And it is my go-to. This thing's always charged. I guess I need to do something on one of the stereos or the Walkmans or something like that. I'll go for this rather than set my big one with that big heavy wire. So that's that. I think this was about 15 quid. Well worth it. Well worth it. What are we going to go with next? Let's go with sander, Orbital sander. Really good piece of kit. Again, all these will take both the batteries. Really good piece of kit. Has two options for the bottom. So it's got a square one and the pointy one. I usually go with this because it's more practical for what I need to do. Use this quite a lot, particularly when I did the carport, sanding it all down when I repainted it in the last year. Better than having the cable run off, because I do have an orbital sander, but with a 20 volt battery on it, because it's a bit lighter, it means you don't mind having it above your head and getting it round and stuff like that. So yeah, This has worked fantastic. Can't fault it. It is a little heavy. I'm used to having my little mouse one, but it does what it needs to do. But again, it is heavy. If you're looking for light stuff, the Ferrex stuff's probably not for you. These are not professional tools. Got a caveat on that. These are very good DIY tools. So I've used my mate's Ryobi drills, and they are so much lighter, but they are 3 or 4 times the cost. So these are DIY tools, and I'm using them in a DIY environment. So we'll get that. There we go. Right. So really impressed with this. Does a really good job. Battery lasts a good chunk of time. So if you're using it on the flat all the time, I just throw the 40-volt battery. It lasts 2 or 3 times and gives it a little bit more power. So that's that. Right. What else we got up here? Jigsaw. I've had this for about a year. It comes with a lot of accessories, so it comes with the attachment for the. Well, that's just fell off. That's the attachment for the. So you can hook a vacuum cleaner up to it. It does come with a what's it called? A fence that you can attach to it. I've used this quite a few times. Again, it's just really good because you've got that dangling wire down when you try to get round a piece of wood, or as I did use it for most recently, cutting the perspex panels for the side panel on my carport. So this just went through that out of butter. I've cut timber, I've cut plastic, and it's just good. The weight of it, even with the battery on the back of it, isn't much more than a conventional one of these that's wired. But again, it just gives you the extra freedom. So really impressed with this. I've had no problems with it so far, and I have no doubt I'll have some more jobs with this. Right, that's that. Next one. Let's go down the bottom run here. Impact driver. This is a proper piece of kit. If you've never used an impact driver, I hadn't used one before I bought this. I was thinking, what's the big hoo-ha about? These things are a lifesaver. This one though, it's a little bit vicious. It has a variable trigger, but if you're trying to put some lean on this, you're just going to whap it all the way up to the top. So this has been used a lot. It got used for helping me replace, in collaboration with, we'll go into this in a minute, with the drill. This was used to drive every single screw into when I replaced the roof. It's been used for doing all the side panels, screwing all those together. It's been used for driving in all the masonry masonry screws, screwing all the front together to attach the garage door. And that's just from a DIY woodworking point of view. I've also got an adapter for this. I've got a few of them on here. I'll show you in a minute. To convert it. Oh no, that's not it. That's it, to convert it so I can use it as an impact wrench as well. Now, granted, it doesn't run as much torque as an impact wrench normally would, but I've used this on the camper when I've been working on it. I've used it a lot on the dune buggy. Just nothing else to taking wheels on and off. And I've noticed on that, when you tighten it up and you ugger-dugger it on, this turns to about, it feels like about 40 Newton meters, because it's not much more when you get a torque wrench on just to click it up. And again, this has just become so practical to have out there. It's not ideal for doing that kind of job. It's not as much torque. So for working on a car, you'd want a proper one. I do have, you can see behind me there, I've got an air powered one as well. Again, that's work zone. Pre Ferrex, that's work zone stuff. For if you need a little bit more extra give. But this has become, yeah, it's a go-to this now. I absolutely love this thing. So the only problem is that little that trigger is it's either on or it's off. There's a little bit there, and then suddenly you're in, and it can be a little bit unwielding at times. That's the only fault I've got with this. So when I got that, I also got, as I've had this one for about 2 years now, I also got the drill. Again, the drill, I used to be my go-to, my drill driver. Used to be my go-to for everything. But I say now I split its jobs between drilling and when I did the roof on the carport, and I've done all the woodwork for the garage conversion. This has had a drill bit in it to do the pilot holes. So I'll be able to use this and that in collaboration with each other. I've done that quite a lot. But again, this has got more than enough torque, more than enough power. I've had no problems with it whatsoever. Again, a little bit more torque when you use the 40-volt batteries. I think the 4 amp hour rather than 2 amp hours for the 20 volts. And again, no problem with this at all. Again, it is a big piece of kit though. I think if you went with a Ryobi or something like that, this would be a lot smaller unit, but it's a bit heavy. So again, DIY jobs, fantastic. You probably wouldn't want to be using this on a site because it's just a little bit unwieldy. That's the only thing. But for DIY jobs, absolutely perfect. Right, what else have we got in here? Not used this that much. It's the Ferrex Multitool. Although when I have used it, used this bit here to trim timber and trim stuff off, it's been, you know, can't fault it. It's been absolutely fantastic. So I've not used it a lot. Really easy and simple to use. It's got a simple lock on the top. You can take this out, lock it back in, and that's it. It's done, ready to go. Variable speed. And yeah, I've only used it a few times, and what I've used it for, been really good. It's not too heavy, and yeah, it's been absolutely fine. So that's that one. Again, I should be using this a bit more because I've got some repair work to do to the roof on the garage, and I need this to trim sections of the wood out. So you'll see that popping up again. What else have we got in here now? Angle grinder, 40 volt angle grinder, and it is a 40 volt. Ooh, I'll grab a 40 volt one. This has been really useful. I've used it a good few times. I did a video a while ago in which I was doing a welding project, let's say a welding practice project, and I was doing 2 ramps, metal ramps for the car, and I cut up all the metal work for the 2 ramps with this. It was being used pretty much for a full hour, and I've just gone through a full battery. Considering this thing kicks out a lot, I've also used it recently at my mate's house for cutting up some flags, and again, it did a good job of cutting it must have been a 600mm flag, cut front and bottom, 1 pass each, depth of about 10-15mm on both sides, so I could break it off. Granted, at that point it did go through a full battery, so it's good if you're just doing a small job. Absolutely perfect. You wouldn't use this for going around and cutting all your flags in your back garden or using it all day. You'd be going through battery like no one's business. But for doing quick jobs, like an hour, a couple of hours, most of the DIY stuff I do is I'm cutting something, putting it away, I'm putting it back, cutting something, putting it back. It's fine, and I can swap the batteries out. I also do have an actual plug-in one just in case this isn't good enough, but I have used it on the June buggy as well to trim some bits off that so I can work on that a bit easier. I say I don't generally have a handle on this. I prefer not to have one on. So that's that. What else have we got? Okay. 40 volt. I think you can work on 20 of this as well. SDS drill. Oops, let's turn that around there so I can get a battery on it. Big piece of kit. I've not used this a hell of a lot, but I did use it to do all the drilling and driving into the all the wall masonry screws when I built the carport, converted it to put the door front on it and to drive them into the concrete slab as well. And this thing just cut into this concrete and brick like butter. It was a fantastic. I think I could have done it with, not with that, sorry. I think I could have done it with the drill. It'd have been more difficult, whereas this thing literally was straight in, no problem at all. And I say, I've got it. Comes with a handle. I've got the bits. I've not used it for chiseling yet. I do have a job which I will be using to do that. I've got to break out a new drainage channel at the back of this workshop to get some better drainage off the roof. So this will be getting used again. Again, I've had no problems with this. It's again, it's a heavy piece of kit, but it works really well. But yeah, I've used it a couple of times. Been brilliant. Right, what else have we got? We've got some more stuff going on here. Okay, last one. 20 volt circular saw. Really good. I've not used this a lot. I think I've only used it a couple of times. But again, just having that no wire around, so you don't have to do that secondary check before you start cutting, has been good. This does have height adjustment, which my static one doesn't. My cabled one doesn't. And you can change the angle of the blade, up to 45 degrees. So I've not used it a hell of a lot. I've used it a bit to cut up some timber panels. And yeah, you always get that issue in which when this starts to pull back, you get a little bit of resistance. You do on this as well. But you do have the option to manually pull that round so you don't do that, so you can start your cut okay. Again, not a problem with this at all, but it's about the same weight as the other one, even with the 40-volt battery stuck on the back of it, or the 20-volt. Again, really stable. And yeah, I can't fault this stuff. I know I'm sounding like a bit of a fanboy, but for the cost of this stuff, and again, it's anything between 15 and say £40. I think the SDS drill is the most expensive thing I've got. This one, I think this was 40 quid without a battery and without a charger. So if you're looking at buying just one piece of kit, then it's going to cost you a bit more, because I say this is a 40 volt, so it's going to be 25 volt for that, 25 quid for that, plus 15, so what's that, 40 plus this. So this would have been £80 if you're just buying it straight off the bat. But again, you can use the batteries and everything else, and there's that flexibility in which they're constantly bringing out new tools, which are practical. The only thing I've not really got is the chop saw, purely because I have a chop saw that's a plug-in one, which does a fantastic job, and I can't imagine me being somewhere where I need to use a chop saw that I can't plug it in. If I hadn't have got that, then I've had the chop saw as well. Again, I've got most of the big kit already. Just, you know, that's just my old, that last one's just my old 18-volt drill, which is a good piece of kit, which is useful to have. But yeah, that's just really just going through what I've got and what I've used it for. From a pro point of view, again, it's all cost. The batteries are relatively cheap and easy to get hold of. Sometimes not, sometimes they are. Sometimes you have to ask behind the counter to get the batteries, as I've noticed on a couple of Aldis. Obviously, it always compares to the Lidl and their Parkside range, which they seem to have a lot more in, more regularly, and more varied bits and pieces. But where I live, where Manchester is, we're Aldiville around here. There's loads of them. I think there's 4 or 5 within a couple of miles, and there's only one Lidl. And there's also a couple in Manchester City Centre, which are now starting to restock tools as well. So although you've got to wait for this stuff, which can be a pain, it is still coming out, which is great, because I was getting a bit worried. Batteries. I've currently got 5 batteries. I've got 2 20 volts and I've got 3 40 volts. All of them are still after 2 years, and the four main, I got 4 2 years ago, and they are still absolutely perfect. I've had no faults on them whatsoever. I bought an extra one because I thought the batteries may not be available. 40 volt stuff seemed to be phasing out about 6 months ago, so I bought one when I could, so I have an extra 40 volt one. I've had no problems with them at all. Absolutely fine. I don't just have this gear as well. I've also have some of the garden tools. So again, I'm buying into that old ecosystem. So I've got those tools as well, which I'll do another review on. I only got them a few months ago. The missus uses them more than me for doing the garden. But again, they use the same battery packs. So again, I'm going into this 20 volt Ferrex system, which I'm happy with at the moment. So that's the pros and bit of cons. That you Parkside or Ferrex, it depends on what you've got local to you, and whether you're willing to wait or not. Now, the more of the cons are, these aren't professional. I mentioned it before. These aren't professional tools. These are not what you're going to see someone carry around a building site, purely because I think it's the weight. The weight, most of them, they're not brushless. You can smell them. I think Ferrex do a professional range. I've seen a few bits turn up, but nothing's come up for sale at any Aldis near me. It must be over a year, because I would really like the professional version of this, the impact driver, only because you can take the end of it off and you can retrofit it to an impact wrench really easily. This is much more difficult to do. So they're a bit heavy, they're a bit more unwieldy, when you're using them. But if you're only using them sparingly for DIY jobs, I mean, I've the drill and the impact, so these two have had the most use. I've had no issues with them whatsoever. This one's really been abused when you work on the cars. And they just work. So I'm really happy with what I've got. With the limitations on, say, weight and things like that. But I'm not using them day in, day out. They're being bought to do a job. And I'll work around the limitations of these to do that. Other than that, I can't fault them. Can't fault them whatsoever. The batteries last a decent amount of time. The 40 volts particularly. The angle grinder battery's a little bit, that can run out quite quick, but that's using a hell of a lot of power to cut through stuff. Everything else, a single battery will last you a good half day, if not more, of constant use, easily. I think that's it really. I thought it's just to have a run through. So I've been using it now for a couple of years, and just go through. I don't know what else is coming out. I think I've got the lion's share of the stuff at the moment. But if anything does turn up, if it's under 40 quid, I'll just buy it. Just to having the shed for. I might use it down the line. I might not. So, yeah. Just a bit of an update. I've been living with them for a while. I think we'll just leave it there. If you've got any comments, if you've got stuff like this Ferrex stuff and you've been using it, give us your feedback. See how have you found them? Have you had any problems with faults, problems with batteries, problems finding the stuff for sale? Let us know down below. It'll help other people as well decide whether they're going to go down this way or Parkside or Ryobi or something else to go something more practical. But I think we're going to leave it there. Yeah, if you made it this far and you found it interesting, thanks for watching. Cheers.